The NFL is loaded with high-end wide receiver talent, but there is one player in particular that has flown under the radar in 2020 despite making a name for himself. That takes us to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the newly acquired Tom Brady. Brady, again, has managed to make a small white dude a more than capable starter in the league, something he's managed to do a handful of times before, with Julian Edelman and Chris Hogan being the most notable. In a different city, it's the same story for Brady, as he's helped transform a second-year sixth-rounder into a viable receiving option. This time, it's Scotty Miller. First, I'd like to acknowledge that the majority of the people who watch our videos aren't subscribed to the channel. Help us out by subscribing and joining us on our way to 100K because it's coming fast and you don't want to miss your opportunity to enlist in the J&D Army. Scott Miller was born on July 31st, 1997 in Barrington, Illinois. Miller attended Barrington High School where he was a 3-year varsity member on the football team and lettered in track. Miller started out playing free safety as a sophomore before playing both ways at wide receiver as a junior and senior. Over his last 2 years with the Broncos, Miller recorded 1,500 receiving yards and 28 touchdowns en route to being named both All-Conference and All-Area twice. He was considered a 2-star recruit coming out of high school and listed as the number 252nd wide receiver in the class. Miller committed to play college football at Bowling Green State University, an FBS program that plays in the Mid-American Conference. It was the only Division I offer that Miller got. Miller originally was going to redshirt his first season at Bowling Green before lifting his redshirt after the Falcons' non-conference portion of the schedule. He went on to play on special teams and wide receiver, catching 7 passes for 29 yards. As a sophomore, Miller took over a starting role and excelled, going for over 100 yards 4 times. He led the Falcons with 74 catches for 968 yards and 10 touchdowns. He did continue to return kicks and punts, finishing with 1,323 all-purpose yards overall. Miller was named first-team All-MAC and appeared on the Biletnikoff watch list, given to the best wide receiver in college football. Miller led the Falcons again as a junior with 63 catches for 722 yards. He added 4 touchdowns while going for over 100 yards twice. He was named third-team All-MAC for his efforts. Heading into his senior year, Miller was placed on the preseason Biletnikoff Award watch list. He led the team in every receiving category with 71 receptions for 1,148 yards and 9 touchdowns. Miller was 7th in the entire nation with 104.4 yards per game. While MAC competition isn't the most rigorous, Miller still impressed against those in the Power 5. Against Oregon, Miller had 166 yards and 2 touchdowns, then he had 117 yards against Georgia Tech. He was named second-team All-MAC. Miller finished his time at Bowling Green with 2,867 receiving yards, good for 3rd most in program history. Ahead of the 2019 NFL Draft, the 5'9", 174-pound receiver did not receive an invite to the NFL Combine, something that Miller has talked about his disappointment for. His college football accolades and production was there, but along with his short stature, Miller didn't get a lot of love from scouts. He was able to silence some critics though at his pro day when he showed out, including a 4.36 40-yard dash. A lot of people compared Miller to Mecole Hardman, who the Chiefs selected in the 2nd round of the draft. Hardman went very early as expected, but Miller, well, he was always expected to be the sleeper pick towards the end of the draft. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Miller with the 208th selection in the 6th round. The pick was originally acquired from the Philadelphia Eagles when the Buccaneers traded away Deshaun Jackson. Most experts saw the Miller pick as one to combat the departure of longtime Buccaneers slot receiver Adam Humphries, who left in free agency. As you'd expect for a 6th-round rookie, Miller didn't play much of a role in 2019. He played in 10 games with 13 receptions for 200 yards and a touchdown. His best game came in Week 15 against the Lions. Miller had 49 yards and his first career touchdown, but left the game with an injured hamstring. He later landed on injured reserve. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, the biggest news this past offseason was Tom Brady signing with the Buccaneers. After spending his first season catching passes from a mix of Jameis Winston and Ryan Fitzpatrick, Miller and company found themselves with a major upgrade at quarterback. With Brady, Miller has gotten off to a nice start in 2020, recording 73 yards in Week 1 against the Saints. He then recorded 83 yards in Week 3 against the Broncos and had 83 yards again and his first touchdown of the year in Week 4 against the Chargers. Then in Week 7 against the Raiders, he scored a touchdown and had 109 yards for his first NFL game with over 100 yards. His breakout may be a surprise for some, but not for Brady. Brady told Fox ahead of the season that while people didn't know who Miller was, they would by the end of the season. Just another prime example of Tom Brady being correct. Miller has a shocking resemblance to another overlooked sixth-round rookie that Brady has turned into a more than capable slot receiver, Julian Edelman. Much like Edelman, Miller was an undersized wide receiver that likely resulted in him being overlooked. One thing that can't be understated, though, is speed. According to the Chicago Tribune, when Tampa Bay called Miller after selecting him, they told him, "We have a need for speed."
Good job.
Miller certainly looks like he fits the role of slot receiver, but the reality is that he's been utilized more on the outside this season. Miller could find an Edelman-like role with Brady, who often like to throw passes over the top in favor of Edelman. Perhaps the most impressive part of Miller finding a role in the Buccaneers, though, is the competition that he's had to fight through. The receiving options in Tampa Bay are absolutely stacked, yet Miller still finds himself with the second most receiving yards on the team behind only Mike Evans. The team leader for yards per game is Chris Godwin, who has only played in 5 games due to a fractured finger. Meanwhile, Brady's old pal Rob Gronkowski has only 1 more reception than Miller on the season, but Miller has 87 more yards. The career of Scotty Miller is just beginning, but it feels like we found another instance of Tom Brady helping push someone's career along. Miller has been overlooked his entire life, but it's no secret that he possesses some impressive skills, most notably his blazing speed. When Brady's time is all said and done in Tampa Bay, it'll be no surprise if Miller can not only continue to have a prominent role in the league, but maybe even secure a new contract. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter for more J&D. We read all of our DMs and love hearing what y'all have to say.